Alright, so now that I am done talking about that one particular game that I'm not fond of, I'm going to talk about another particular game I'm not fond of. Stick with it, it's going to be a little bit more positive. Because today I'm going to be talking about Bloodborne. For those of you who remember, a while back, I actually, when I got my PS4, I borrowed Bloodborne from a friend. Ugh, I also borrowed that game too. And to be fair, I wasn't fond of it. For this video, though, I do want to stress, I've played it, I own it, I got one trophy left before I platinum it, so maybe you can take my opinion a little more seriously. I wasn't fond of it, I didn't quite enjoy it, and I kind of brushed it off. And recently I, of course, got a copy of it, and got the DLC, and went through the whole fucking thing with a friend. And I'm still not fond of it. However, there are things in Bloodborne that I do like, so I want to go over the things I like and then just tell you what I don't like about it and why overall I'm not fond of it. But I've been playing the Souls games for a long time. I've got Demon Souls somewhere back here on this shelf. I've got Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 1, I got Scholar of the First Sin, I've got Dark Souls 3. I'm genuinely hoping at some point they may remaster the series and re-release it again, because I'll buy it again. The idea of a remastered Dark Souls on my PS4 is just quite exciting. But with Bloodborne, it's very much a Souls game, but I can't help but feel that it's the bastard stepchild of the Souls series. There are a lot of people that like this one. There are people that like only this one. There are Souls veterans that don't like it, me. And there's people that, like it just the same as the Souls series. But personally, overall, if I had to give you my opinion, I'm just not fond of it. So let me go ahead and tell you the things I do like about this game, though. There's a lot of different aspects about it that are enjoyable. One of the aspects that I find very enjoyable are the themes and the atmosphere. A lot of you probably don't know this because I haven't talked about it a lot, but I am a big fan of H.P. Lovecraft. Not his racist rhetoric, but the great old ones, the Cthulhu monsters, the idea of insanity and fear and these things that exist between the realms of reality and cause men to go mad. These themes are very much present in Bloodborne. If you start Bloodborne off, it's going to be like, oh, okay, werewolves and stuff. Alright, okay. But the further you play in it and the more you learn about it and the more insight you gain, you soon realize, oh, there's greater stuff at work here. Like literally old ones and aliens and cool shit like that. And I do love these themes because I'm a big fan of, Cthulhu mythos, Shadow over Innsmouth, and things like that. I even have... Where are you? I know you're up here somewhere. You're probably in a hard spot to reach, knowing my luck. No, wait, you're right there. I see you. You also probably saw, I cut my hair, I can't really shave the back of my neck. I need help. I need someone to help me shave the back of my neck. Anywho, I have this game, Call of Cthulhu. Pretty damn good game. And a lot of the themes that are present in Bloodborne show up in this, although to a lesser extent. But I've always been a big fan of the Cthulhu mythos and the idea of great old ones, and that is very much present in Bloodborne. When I say that I like the atmosphere, I like all the Souls games' atmospheres, including this one. These dark, oppressive, frightening environments, eerie noises, monsters around every corner, and it's drenched in this I don't have a word. It's drenched in great atmosphere is what it is. The starting city of Yharnam is very interesting. I like the Victorian setting. I just like the environment. I like the designs. The idea that this game, I don't think this game takes place in the same universe as the Souls series, but the idea that this game takes place in a future setting, very Victorian era, almost, I don't want to say London, but it's a cityscape, unlike, the castles and dragons and sorceries that you see in Dark Souls. But I love the environmental design, and I love just the atmosphere. If you just boot the game up, you're not playing with anybody, you're not talking to anybody, and you just walk through the streets of Yharnam fighting monsters, this very well could be described as maybe a loose horror game, because it does have some frightening imagery, and some really fucked up bosses, too. Just the designs of everything, from the environmental designs, which there's a ton of detail drenched in almost every corner of this game. One thing I recall when revisiting Demon Souls on PS3 is how a lot of the environments seem a little bland. Now, granted, this is an older game and it was their first big project like this, this new design for Souls games, but like looking at some of the older games, everything just seems a little bland sometimes. This game is drenched in atmosphere. There's almost ludicrous amounts of details in the environments, from statues to architecture to something as simple as giant fires erected in the city by the villagers and things like that. There's all these little atmospheric bits. I also enjoy, like I said, I mentioned the bosses briefly. I enjoy the monster designs a lot in this game. I like the beasts. The beasts are very interesting. The idea of beast blood, these humans turning into these feral creatures, is very interesting to me. Whether it's the diminutive creatures that are in Old Yarnum, or like the werewolves and the villagers that are in most of the other aspects of Yarnum, whether it's the abhorrent beast or the bloodletting beast, those things I think show up in the Chalice dungeons, or even some of the other creatures like the Cthulhu monsters, these alien things that show up, and I believe it's called the Orphanage, which is the higher up you go into Yarnum, you'll run into these guys. But there are a few of them in one part of a forest somewhere, and I don't know the levels as well as Soul, so forgive me, I can't really pinpoint where the fuck those guys are. But the creatures up in the top part of Yarnum, the creatures that are in the orphanage, that are in the giant flower garden, those things are freaky. Like, to be perfectly honest, they're kind of goofy when you look at them in the context of a Souls game, because how powerful you are and how capable you are in combat. But imagine if one of these things showed up in, say, that other game I don't like, and you just had this creepy thing with this gooey head just suddenly running at you like this. That'd be fucking freaky. I would say that would be scarier than, hillbilly horror, but nobody likes my opinion on that game anyways. Anywho, I love the monster designs. I love the creature designs. But the bosses, I think the bosses are a little less so. I didn't really find any of the bosses necessarily wowing. And don't get me wrong, like, there's hit and miss bosses in the Soul series as well. But, like, some of them are just shit, in my opinion. Like, the great old one that you fight, or the lesser great old one that you fight after you get past the little alien head dudes in the orphanage, that thing was pretty cool looking. But you have a lot of other things, like the very first boss, the cleric beast, is just shitty. You have, the snake head dudes that you fight in the Forbidden Woods. They're not very interesting. What they do when you kill them and start summoning powerful snake heads is interesting. I just didn't find a lot of the bosses very entertaining. Not the great old one, the one reborn. I can't remember these names very well. The one reborn, the giant amalgamation of flesh and bones that basically shits out of the dark moon. Some of this shit makes no sense unless you play the game. Anywho, the one reborn, that one reminded me so much of that fucking T-Rex monster from Resident Evil 6. If you played, you understand what I mean, but I just wasn't digging a lot of the boss designs. I think that the boss designs in the DLC were actually better. Most particularly Ludwig. Ludwig was a fucking nightmare. Like, in a Souls game, you're like, oh, that's kind of intimidating. But think of the context of any other game running into a beast like Ludwig. He's fucking scary. Like the horse head, the half-human face that still resembles a human, but you can only tell when he holds his sword up and covers part of his face. He's fucking creepy. But I dig that. I wish that they had more variety in monsters and bosses. One thing that disappointed me most is this is straight up H.P. Lovecraft, old ones, that sort of thing. There were not very many undead. Like, there are undead creatures, like the drowned things that are in the sewers. But, like, this type of mythos and the Call of Cthulhu stuff, you have a variety. You have undead. They had the beasts and the werewolves, which do also show up in the Cthulhu mythos, but there were no vampires. When I got to Canehurst Castle, I was like, okay, I'm digging this environment, because Canehurst Castle was beautiful. But as I played through it, I was like, what's the boss going to be? And my buddy wouldn't spoil it for me. And we're playing through, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see these bat-looking dudes that are coming down. Please tell me there are vampires in this. The reason I wanted that is because, again, in the old ones and Cthulhu and all this stuff, these existential creatures, you have vampires. Now, when I say vampires, I don't really mean the sparkly shit or the underworld shit. I mean, like, just straight up monsters that are vampiric in nature, feast on blood, cause you to lose your mind when you see them. I wish those things had been in there, but they weren't. And when I got to the top of Canehurst Castle, it was just some frozen undead dude with swords. It was kind of disappointing. But overall, the designs in this game, the amount of detail in this game, the atmosphere in this game, the music in this game, holy fuck. Even though it does have the Souls problem where there's not really any music playing until you reach a boss, I think this game has a lot of merit. So you might be asking yourself, Brett, why do you not like it then if you're saying all this good shit about it? The thing that disappoints me with Bloodborne is its combat. Now, I know a lot of people want to probably be like, oh, well, you probably just suck at it. In the beginning, I did suck at it. That's a very apt assumption. But I'm one trophy away from platinuming it. I played through it. A lot of people are like, well, you had a friend, you had Becca. Yeah, but then I went through the New Game Plus mostly by myself. I helped him in like 2 boss fights, and I did most of the New Game Plus by myself. As of right now, I don't suck at it. I'm not very good at it. I'm not like super skilled, slick hunter. But I just don't like the combat. It's fast, it's frenetic, and I'm sure there's people out there that'll enjoy it, but I'm used to Souls. Now, a lot of people want to make the assumption, oh, well, you just turtle up and use your shield. Actually, that's not the case. I always have a shield on me for when I need it, which is boss fights, but most of the time, I like to play these games, you know, as the fast, dodgy, like light magic using jack of all trades. Like my characters, I build them and I wear light armor so that I can dodge roll. I have a shield that's not too heavy, but does good defense damage against against like weapons and magic and fire and lightning and all that shit. But I also like to have healing spells and pyromancy. So my character is completely lopsided. I have my friend. He mostly plays these games in the way that people are like, you're playing the game wrong. Which there's no wrong way to play Souls. There's a reason it's an RPG. You can play and make whatever fucking character you want. But he plays basically as that big tank character. He puts a lot of his points into health, endurance, strength, so that he can have big honking shields, big honking swords, heavy fucking armor, fat roll all the way. And he enjoys it. It's fun. I would not tell him you're playing the game wrong, because that's just fucking stupid. You're able to make whatever character you want. You're not going to tell a mage or a thief class, oh, you're playing the game wrong. People can make whatever character they want, but that's been the assumption I've heard when people talk about this game. It's like, they removed the shield because you were playing the game wrong. Then why'd they put the shield in there to begin with? A lot of the elements that are present in Dark Souls allow for a lot of different modes of play. This one only allows for one mode of play. You dodge or you die. And that's one of the reasons I don't like it. I don't like the idea of having my options taken away from me. Now, with the DLC, there is another extra shield. In the beginning, they troll you with one wooden shield that's a piece of shit. There is another shield, and I've tried it, and it's garbage. It doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. It's a fucking shield, and it doesn't really block against damage. You just take less damage. And I'm not really keen on that. But I can get why people like this combat. I just don't like it. I don't like having to dodge roll. I don't like having to play in that certain way. Now, granted, Souls is a little bit slower, a little bit more methodical, and the enemies telegraph their attacks way slower than they do in Bloodborne. Holy fuck, this game. But I'm not a fan of the combat. And I've played the game all the way through. You can check my PSN ID. I have one last trophy in the goddamn Chalice dungeon before I can platinum this game that I don't like. There are elements about it I do like, but overall, I'm not a fan of Bloodborne. Is that okay, by the way? I'm going to be an asshole about this for a few days. But a lot of people are probably wondering, well, if you don't like the fucking game so much, why did you play through it? I played through it because of my buddy, Kevin. It's interesting because Kevin is what I would consider, if I can just like suck his dick for a minute, Kevin is the epitome of good friend. He's almost always down to play. He's always down to chat. If I need a vent, he listens to me. If he needs a vent, I listen to him. He's just a decent friend. I've never met him in person. He lives in Canada, and we'll probably never get to hang out and have couch co-op, but I consider this guy an actual good friend. A lot of you watching this, you probably think sometimes, I like Brett, I'd like to chit-chat with him. If that's the case, if you want to do that, Kevin wasn't always a friend. He used to be just like the rest of you. He found my video back when I did some DMC stuff. Like, I asked him recently, I was like, where did you even find me? He had been watching Main Event talk about DMC. My video was in the recommendations, and he clicked on the video, found my channel, and became associated with me. He used to be just like you guys. And it's funny, because I have people add me on PSN and Xbox Live all the time, and I don't necessarily keep my PSN or my Xbox Live open to people for the purpose of chit-chat. I don't use it as like a social media thing. I use it as, oh, this person's right here, he's easily accessible, I can invite him to a party or a game. So if you're a person who's added me on there, and I've deleted you off of there, which I did recently clear out the list of people I don't play with, please don't take it as some sort of an attack or me being mad at you or you doing something wrong. It's just that I use my Xbox Live and my PSN for people I play games with. If I don't play any games with you, or it doesn't look like I'm going to play any games with you, I delete you. It's not because I'm mad at you, it's not because I hate you. If you want to chit chat with me, if you're like, I like this guy, I want to get in touch with this guy, I have a Facebook. You can go to my Facebook, you can add me. Send me a message when you add me so I know who you are, like, oh, I'm such and such channel from YouTube. So I can know who you are, because I have to worry about sometimes stalkers or troll accounts or even the weird spam bots. Like, yeah, I'm sure this girl with one photo of herself and no friends is totally legit. I hate that shit. I really do. But you know, if you wanna get in touch with me, it's really fucking easy. You can just add me on Facebook and we can chit chat. But like, people add me on PSN and Xbox Live all the time, and I fucking hate it, because like, if you see me playing a game, I want to play the game. Please don't message me and chat with me. I'm not gonna be hateful. I have chatted with a few of you, but I don't want to chat on my PS4 or my Xbox One. I want to chat on Facebook or Skype. Please don't do that shit. And there are some of you who have gone over to Facebook, but like, I delete friends on there because it's people I don't play with. And it's a situation where I just don't want to see, oh, such and such is online, such and such is playing this game also. It's very annoying when I'm trying to immerse myself in a game world. It's just not my thing. And sometimes I accidentally delete your requests. Like, one person, I'm going to say your PSN ID, X Mortis. I accidentally deleted your request. If you want to play a game with me, re-add me on PSN and we'll eventually play something. Maybe this shit. If you just want to talk with me, just add me on Facebook. Like, don't do that. Because I remember one time, this very nice Englishman, English boy, I don't know how old you are, you're younger than me. This English bloke was messaging me while I was at the very end of the campaign of a game fighting very powerful enemies. I think it was Uncharted. I think I was playing Uncharted 2 on PS4. And he was messaging me, we were chit-chatting, and I had to pause the game, go chit-chat with him, come back to the game, play, and I'd get maybe a few minutes in, and then he'd have another message. And I was being nice, but at the same time I'm like, fuck, let me play my game. It's very annoying, but this whole tangent aside, if you want to add me or be buddies with me, you can. It's very simple. But, you know, the reason I played through Bloodborne was because I played it with my buddy Kevin. And it was actually a really good time. Co-op usually makes just about everything better. Hell, I was able to play through Dead Space Awakened in co-op, and that made it a lot better. I don't like Dead Space Awakened. But that's the reason I played through this game. A lot of people are like, well, if you don't like it, why'd you play it? Because Kevin is actually really good to me. A lot of people assume that I'm just an e-begging cunt, which I am. I'm not paying for it. Send me a free copy of it. But Kevin is good to me. He does things for me sometimes. And one thing that he does, we both have Dark Souls 3 on PS4. We both love it. And he wanted to play the DLC with me. I'm a broke bitch right now hunting a job. Everyone knows this. And so he decided to send me a PSN code and told me just go buy the Season Pass for Dark Souls 3. And so I bought the Season Pass for Dark Souls 3. And we have played all these games. We've played them to death. We were getting a little bored, and he's like, you should really try Bloodborne. And I told him I didn't want to, and he made the joke that he might buy it for me. And he lives in Canada, so it's going to be more expensive for him. He's going to have to ship it. I didn't want him to go through all that bullshit. And so I was like, I'll just go out and buy it. And I went out and bought it. It was $20 at GameStop. I got a copy of it, and we played the whole damn thing, and I had a really good time just playing games with my friends. And that is the best thing in the world, being able to play through a game with your buddy. So I enjoyed playing the game with my friend, but I didn't necessarily enjoy the game. I have a little bit more of an understanding of it now, and even with a bit more understanding and being a bit decent at the combat, I still don't like it. So, yeah. But if you want to play games with me, play some games with me. If you want to chit-chat with me, add me on Facebook, send me a message, let me know who you are. I may ask you to do a code for me. It's kind of fucked up, but it's also kind of funny. I don't trust people a whole lot because I know there's so many weird fake accounts out there. So I might ask you to send me a message from your YouTube account with a special code or something. I shit you not, right now in my YouTube inbox, there's literally a message that says, I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Because I was like, just send me that so I know you're real. And it's the funniest fucking thing. And I'm not trying to fuck with people, but I have to protect my own privacy and make sure I don't have a bunch of bots and fucking trolls on my account. But if you want to chat with me, add me on Facebook. If you actually want to play games with me, send me a friend request on PS4 or Xbox One, and then occasionally invite me to a fucking game when you see me on. And make sure you know what games I have, because that makes it a lot easier to co-op. But yeah, I do not enjoy Bloodborne, but I played Bloodborne, and I've got one trophy left before I platinum it. And I was going to ask another friend to help me platinum it, but we're not friends anymore because of opinions, and because people make fun of me not having a job, and because I'm nice, and I actually respected our friendship, I'm not going to talk any shit on you in this video. I'm not going to make a post and share screen caps of our conversations and have my friends mock you. Because I was actually your friend, and I genuinely cherished our friendship, and now we're not friends anymore. And it sucks, but I'll move on, you'll move on, we're both grown-ass men. It'll be fine. But, yeah, it sucks, because I actually kind of liked you. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope that maybe you have a little more appreciation for this game. Maybe you don't. I'll keep a hold of it and play it with my buddy Kevin. I'll play it with those of you who want to play it. But I'm just not a fan of it. And it's okay to not be a fan of it. Thanks for watching. Drop me a like, drop me a dislike, drop me some comments. Maybe, you know, share this with your friends. Hey, look at this cunt. He doesn't like Bloodborne. See what happens. Take care, everybody.